What if I told you that there's a hidden code inside your soul? A code that, once activated, shifts your energy, rewires your reality, and connects you directly to the source of all creation? This is not a theory. This is not a belief. This is a remembrance. A sacred pulse echoing through your being, subtle, silent, but undeniable. And maybe that's why you're here. Because something within you, not outside, has begun to stir. Something ancient, something powerful, something the world tried to bury beneath layers of noise, fear, and distraction. But you can't ignore it anymore. Have you ever felt like there's more to this life than what we've been told? That there's a truth just beyond the veil, waiting, watching, calling you closer? You're not imagining it. This hidden code has been whispered across centuries, through symbols, through dreams, through frequencies that bypass the mind and speak directly to the soul. Some called it divine memory, others soul activation. But all agreed on one thing. Once it awakens, you are never the same. The world will feel louder. Your senses sharper. But above all, you'll begin to see. Not with your eyes, but with something far older. If you've ever felt like there's something sacred hidden behind this reality, something just out of reach but deeply familiar, comment below, I'm ready to remember. That small act may open the very door your soul has been knocking on for lifetimes. There's a story, almost forgotten, of a man who once touched the edge of this secret. He wasn't a guru. He wasn't chosen by a temple or crowned by tradition. He was ordinary. And maybe that's why the universe whispered to him, because he was listening. He had wandered far into the mountains, seeking silence. Not answers, just stillness. And in that stillness it came. Not a voice, not a light, but a vibration, a feeling, like the memory of something he never lived but always carried. He described it as a song with no sound, but I remembered every note. What he found in that moment wasn't information. It wasn't knowledge in the usual sense. It was a code, alive, intelligent, encoded within him all along. It moved through his breath. It danced along his spine. It vibrated in his fingertips. And just like that, he could see the fabric of reality, not with his eyes but with his being. He would later write, I realized I was not discovering something new. I was finally remembering who I truly am. His journey is not unique. Many of us are being called to the same remembrance. You included. Because the body is not just flesh, it is an antenna. Your skin, your bones, your breath, all of it has been listening, waiting, holding ancient codes that modern science can't yet explain. But your soul knows. You were encoded before birth, long before this life. Encoded with purpose, direction, frequency. And when you begin to tune into that frequency, something changes. Not outside. Inside. Your intuition sharpens. Your body tingles at certain truths. Your dreams carry messages too vivid to ignore. This is not a coincidence. It's a signal. A signal that the code is beginning to awaken. Energy has never spoken in words. It speaks in patterns, in pulses, in rhythms that bypass logic and imprint themselves on your very being. This is why sacred symbols feel strangely familiar. Why a spiral, a mandala, a golden ratio can stop you in your tracks. Not because you understand them with your mind, but because your soul remembers them. These are not just designs. They are codes, blueprints of divine order embedded in everything around you. The ancients knew this. They carved spirals into cave walls. They built temples aligned with stars. They whispered truths in geometries we're only now beginning to decode. The flower of life, for example, is not just sacred art. It is a vibrational key, a map of creation. Each intersection a note in the divine song that structures reality itself. Even your cells, the way they divide, expand, and die, follow this same cosmic architecture. Your breath forms a wave. Your heartbeat creates a field. Your aura responds to thought like water to moonlight. You are not just surrounded by energy. You are made of it. But here's the truth they never taught you. Energy is conscious. And like a language, it responds when spoken to correctly. Not through speaking but through resonance. When your thoughts align with love, clarity, and intention, your frequency rises. And when that happens, symbols awaken, intuition ignites, and the code begins to unfold from within. Not all at once, but like a sacred language, word by word, image by image, until you finally understand what has been speaking to you all along. Now the question emerges. If this code is within us, why was it hidden? The answer is not simple, but it begins with this truth. A soul that remembers its power cannot be controlled. For centuries, systems of power, religious, political, even scientific, have thrived by keeping you disconnected from your divine origin. They told you God was outside of you. They told you truth lived in books, in buildings, in figures of authority, but never in your breath, never in your silence, never in your vibration. Because the moment you realize that your thoughts shape matter, that your heart creates fields, that your presence shifts timelines, you become dangerous, not to others but to illusions. You see, a fully awakened soul doesn't follow, remembers, it listens to the unseen. It walks by inner compass, not outer command. And this freedom of being, is the greatest threat to control. So what did they do? They shrouded the truth in ridicule. They called it fantasy, heresy, pseudoscience. They burned the scrolls, silenced the mystics, laughed at the seers. They taught you to doubt your knowing, to fear your sensitivity, to mock your own magic. But despite all of this, the code never left. It remained in symbols passed down through dreams, in chants hidden in forgotten languages, in rituals disguised as myths, in your very DNA. And now, in this precise moment of global transition, it is stirring again. That feeling inside you, the one that refuses to sleep, is not restlessness, it is remembrance. And as the code begins to rise in you, the world will try one more time to distract you, to silence you, to pull you back into the forgetting. But this time, you will not go back, because something inside of you has already crossed a threshold. And the path forward is no longer about seeking. It's about activating. You may not have realized it, but your soul has already begun to wake up. And when the divine code stirs inside you, the body responds. Not with grand explosions, but with subtle, sacred symptoms. You might feel sudden waves of energy rushing through your spine. Moments where your skin tingles for no logical reason. Or dreams that feel more real than waking life, like memories from another timeline. Some nights, sleep becomes impossible. Your mind is quiet, but your soul is alive. Buzzing. Listening. Waiting for something it can't name, yet. Have you noticed a growing discomfort around certain people or places? Environments you once tolerated now feel dense, draining, or even painful. You're not imagining it. Your frequency is rising, and your energetic field no longer matches lower vibrations. Suddenly, small talk feels unbearable. Your intuition feels louder. You sense things before they happen, not as prediction but as recognition. This is one of the most sacred signs. You no longer believe. You begin to know. There's a stillness inside you, deeper than emotion. And it speaks with the quiet confidence of remembrance. You feel called to certain symbols, drawn to certain numbers, moved by sacred languages you've never studied. And in all of this you begin to realize, the universe is not sending you messages. It's activating what's already inside you. You are not being taught. You are being reawakened. Let that sink in. The divine code is not a secret you learn. It's a frequency you embody. And the moment you begin to live in alignment with that frequency, the code unfolds. It opens like a flower, not through effort, but through attunement. So how do you activate it? You begin by creating silence, not around you but within you. Close your eyes, breathe in slowly, and visualize a spiral of golden light descending into your body. Let it settle in your heart. Then pulse outward through your hands, your spine, your breath. This isn't fantasy. Your imagination is the doorway to energetic command. You are not pretending. You are remembering. Sound is another key. Ancient frequencies like 432 Hz, 528 Hz, or mantras in forgotten tongues, these bypass thought and speak directly to your DNA. When you chant Om, you're not just vibrating your throat. You're realigning your entire field to the geometry of Source. Movement is sacred. Not performance, but intuitive flow. Dance as if you're drawing shapes in the air. Trace spirals with your fingers. Let your body become the brush, and the code the canvas. And above all, intention. Speak to your soul. Speak to your cells. They are listening. Say, I am ready. I give permission to remember who I am. I activate the code within. Repeat it until the words no longer come from your lips, but from your being. This is not a ritual for others to see. This is a sacred conversation between you and the infinite. And when you do this, with sincerity, with trust, the code will begin to respond. Not always with fireworks, sometimes with stillness, with tears, with a single moment of undeniable clarity. And in that moment, you will know something ancient has awakened inside you, and it cannot be undone. When the code begins to unlock, your outer life doesn't just shift, your entire reality reorganizes around your soul. You start to feel aligned, not with what society told you to be, but with who you've always been beneath the noise. Suddenly, what once drained you becomes unbearable. What once felt distant now feels intimate. You begin to attract people, places, and opportunities that reflect your higher state, not because you're trying, but because you're resonating. You become magnetic. Not in a superficial way, but in a soul-level frequency. Your presence begins to shift rooms. Your silence speaks louder than words. And people feel it, even if they can't explain why. Synchronicities increase. You think of someone they call. You ask a question, the answer shows up in a dream. You feel a pull, and life places the next clue directly in your path. This isn't magic. This is resonance. The more you align, the more you realize. You are not creating a new life. You are stepping into the one your soul has always known. But there is a sacred paradox here. The more awake you become, the more silent your path must be. Because not everyone will understand. And this is not a truth to be preached. It is a vibration to be lived. There is a reason this code is not shared in public squares. It is not because it is dangerous. It is because it is sacred. A truth this pure must be protected. When you begin to carry this frequency, you will feel the urge to share it, to shout it from mountaintops. But instead, whisper it to your breath. Weave it into your walk. Etch it into your energy. Because those who are ready will feel it. They'll see it in your eyes. They'll recognize something in your silence. And without a word, they'll remember too. This is how the code spreads. Not by noise, but by frequency. You came here for a reason. Not by mistake. Not by chance. Because something in you is waking up. Something ancient. Something eternal. So if these words stirred something in your chest, if you felt that deep vibration in your heart, if your soul whispered, yes, comment below, code received. Let the universe know you're ready. And let others see that they're not alone in this remembrance. Because next, we'll explore why the most powerful chosen ones lose themselves before they remember their true name. And once you hear it, you'll never forget again.